Hello, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. So today I'm going to be making red pork Chinese Hakka style, and I'm going to be using these Australian pork spare ribs to make this dish. I'm going to be using these dried squid. Now these particular ones are the small ones, but you can use the large ones. I'm cooking 4 kilos of pork. So the first thing you want to do is take 5 baby squid out and put them into a bowl with 1 cup of boiling water and start soaking those. Then in another bowl I've got 11 shiitake mushrooms, also with a cup of boiling water, and soak those for at least 1.5 hours before we will use them. I've boiled the kettle and now I'm adding the boiling water to the pot. I'm using a large pot that will hold the 4 kilos of pork. Add all your pork and to that a teaspoon of salt. You can add more salt later when it comes to flavouring it, but to start off with, add 1 teaspoon of salt. And then boil that for half an hour. Once the pork has been boiling for half an hour, take it out. I've put it into a colander and I'm just straining all the juice back into the pot. Keep the water for the sauce later. Now cut your pieces into bite-sized pieces, so they're about 2 centimeters wide, and then just cut all your pork. Once all the pork has been cut up, now we move on to the other ingredients. Because my garlics are quite small, I'm taking 2 full cloves and then going to just peel those and cut them up. So what I've done is I've just taken the big cleaver and smashed the garlic, because most of that's going to disappear into the sauce, and that's all I'm doing to the garlic. The baby squids have been soaking there for 1.5 hours, and now we're going to prepare those. So inside the squid there's a little shard. Just take that out. So that's what it looks like. And discard that. I'm using my really small cleaver for this, and all you want to do is cut it very fine. So that's the fineness that you're looking for, really tiny. And then just cut all the squid like that. Now take the shiitake mushrooms and cut those up. So when you're cutting the shiitakes, try and cut them at a bit of an angle, like that, so that they're smooth, very thin, like that. Keep all the water from the squid and from the shiitake mushrooms. I'm using a large non-stick electric wok to cook this particular dish in. I've just added 3 tablespoons of oil, and now we're going to start frying. Before you start frying the squid, make sure you put at least a teaspoon of salt into it, otherwise it just jumps out at you. Once the oil is hot, then add your squid. And now the shiitake mushrooms. And now add your garlic. Now I'm adding the pork. And just stir right through. Now I'm going to be adding the sauce from the squid and the sauce or water from the shiitake mushrooms. I'm using this red rice. It's a fermented red rice and it's dried. So when you take it out, it looks like that, and then all you have to do is crush it in the palm of your hands. To start off with, I've added 3 tablespoons of the dried fermented red rice. To that, add 500 milliliters of the pork water. So just enough water to partly cover the pork, so that, as you can see, the water is up to there, so it's half covering this pork. And now I'm adding 4 tablespoons of bean sauce. So this is the sauce that I'm using, and I've got 1 tablespoon in of this particular one, which is a black bean sauce. So in total 4 tablespoons, 3 of the bean sauce and 1 of the black bean. So I'm going to be using this tofu, which is also known as tiakon for the Hakka people, and I'm cutting those up into small pieces. So the tofu that I'm using is the firm tofu, not the soft and creamy. Cut your pieces, so the pieces are about 5 centimeters and 1 centimeter thick. Add your tiakon or tofu. And then just stir it through. Add a tablespoon of chicken stock. Add 2 tablespoons of sugar. Put the cover on and simmer for an hour, and then check to see if it's cooked properly. It's been simmering for an hour now, and as you can see, it's reduced quite a lot. And now we're just going to check and see if the meat is nice and soft and tender. So it's still a little bit hard, so I'm going to simmer it for another half an hour. It's been simmering for the extra half an hour, and now we're going to just test the meat. As you can see, it's really soft and would just melt in your mouth. So now it's ready to serve. You can add any of the Chinese vegetables to the pork now, but I'm actually going to be plating it up on some baby cause lettuce because I like the vegetables to be a wee bit crunchy. So just put some lettuce onto the plate, and now I'm going to spoon my pork onto that. When you put the hot pork onto the coarse lettuce, it sort of like cooks it a wee bit and makes it nice and soft. This dish is best served with rice. And now all you have to do is just dish up and enjoy this absolutely amazing tasting pork dish.